So welcome back to the Cars Commerce booth. I'm David Spisak with Disruptive Growth Solutions. More important, I have some incredibly knowledgeable people to the left of me. And the first gentleman is, and I apologize, I don't know, but Dan, no, I know your name, Dan, but what do you do at Cars Commerce?
So I'm the head of product for our Dealer Inspire websites.
Okay, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a long time.
I got some questions for you.
I'm sure you do.
Okay, Ron over here. Ron is the head of digital media and
Solutions.
Solutions,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
And that's a pretty mighty job. But as I mentioned to anybody who may have seen Ron yesterday on a panel, one of the things that really interests me and fascinates me, impresses me, is how long you've been involved with Dealer Inspire. And not just because of your staying power at the company, but it says a couple things. Okay, people don't stay unless it's a great company. People don't stay unless they see innovation, growth, reinvention. So it says a lot, but it also says you know a whole lot about what we're about to talk about. Fair?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love
Between
that.
me and Dan, I don't think there's many people that would have more insights as to like the journey we've been on and what we are currently working on to continue to innovate and make sure that we're moving the needle in the right direction.
And I think it's always important to get a dealer's perspective. And just for the simple reason that, let's just be honest, sure, we're all good-looking people here on this side of the room, all of us, but people really want to hear from you, right? So from the Walt Massey Group, and I'm sorry, you're based in New Orleans, right?
So our stores are in Florida, in Mississippi, and one in Louisiana.
But you're based in New Orleans.
Personally,
so
yes.
I've been asking people about their journey. There was a guy that drove from Montreal 25 hours from Montreal. I met a guy from Kazakhstan. He flew 25 hours, right? And you, I think you drove about 25 minutes.
Yeah, just some icy roads. It was bad.
2 stoplights. It was horrible, right? So, and what store, what particular, are you at corporate?
Yeah, I'm the CMO for the group. We have 9 dealerships. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. And I appreciate you joining. And I'm really interested in your perspective. And I'm going to start with you, if it's okay. Because as the Chief Marketing Officer, you know, marketing is one of those things, it doesn't have a direct relationship to revenue. And so everybody knows how important marketing is. But I don't think that people always understand what it takes in order to create a successful outcome, whether it's for fixed or for sales. Would you agree with that? It's complicated.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with that.
So I want to start with this, because we're talking about websites and why it's important to have a very effective, very modern, right, very innovative, very secure. You got to cover all of those. So tell me from your perspective, you have a good-sized group. And I would like to know, from your perspective, what is it that sets Dealer Inspire apart, and what is it that allows them to deliver to you what you need for your stores? Because you have different brands, different locations. So how do they deliver to you on a daily basis in different locations in a way that's different from other websites?
So I think, we're always evolving, and Dealer Inspire has always been at the forefront. I'm personally a fan of WordPress and the fact that there is so much customization you can do on your own inside of WordPress. I feel like
that allows you to be agile, right?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, which is more and more important today. Okay.
Yeah, I think the second half of that is engagement, right? So the more agile the site is, site speed is obviously very important, but when you can create personal experiences for people, they'll engage more, and ultimately engagement is what creates results.
I love that you said that, and I'm going to bounce back over to you, Ron. But I love that you said that because, you know, I've got dealer clients across the country, and I can't tell you how many times they think if web traffic goes up, done, solved, right? We used to have 15,000, now it's 18,000. I don't know why we're not selling more cars. Okay, but if you don't have engagement, I could have half the web traffic, but significantly better engagement, and I'm going to beat you if I'm the competitor and I happen to have this website. Say it again?
You can have a lot of bot traffic from Wyoming, and I'm in New Orleans, and how does that help sell more cars, for example?
So, Ron, I want to jump exactly onto that.
Yeah.
What does Dealer Inspire do specifically to make the websites, first of all, to make the data pure, talked about that before, but also to create and drive greater engagement, which allows dealers to maximize the return on ad spend.
Yeah, the word agile, I think, is the right one. We've always been focused on interoperability. And if you look at the way that the Dealer Inspire website platform can work alongside of a dealer's advertising, or even some of the things that they might be doing out of their CRM to make sure that they engage those customers in the right way and ultimately help them through the buying process, the website can adapt to each one of those customers and provide them with something unique that ties into where they are at in their particular shopping journey, and make sure that the messaging, the content, the experience that they have on the website is something that's personalized and unique, and that drives better results. We typically see customers that engage with a personalized experience on our platform convert twice as higher.
That's pretty incredible. And I'm just curious, Dan, from your perspective, I don't know if you could answer this, but what allows Dealer Inspire to do that, to deliver, as Ron was saying, to engage people at such a significantly higher rate? Because that's a real, for me as a dealer, I'm looking for ways to save money on marketing and to optimize, maximize my marketing, right? And certainly I need delivery from my sales team on conversion, but from your take, how does Dealer Inspire help a dealership and the sales team, or even on the fixed op side, be able to elevate their business, create more opportunities for engagement, and ultimately for getting clients?
Yeah, I'd say a lot of it comes really down to the partnership with the dealer and having a strategic conversation to make sure that when the dealer is maybe increasing their digi ad spend and suddenly getting a big boost in traffic to the website, that the landing pages that traffic is landed on are clean, intuitive. They provide a clear next step. So if you're trying to get more of your service bay drives filled, then that page really needs to make it easy for the consumer to understand, okay, great, here's how I get my next service appointment scheduled, et cetera. A lot of times we see, dealers drive traffic to pages that are full of different calls to action from other vendors, and it's so difficult to track all of those different third parties and what the attribution is across the board. So that's another conversation that we can have with the dealer to really maximize that.
One of the things I want to amplify what you said is, we always think of innovation in terms of technology, but I think there's the client experience side where there's innovation. And one of the things that I admire about Cars Commerce, about your team, is how innovative you are in terms of being a partner with the client to allow them to better understand how to get the absolute maximum out of everything they're doing and every element of Dealer Inspire. And I want to circle back to you, Charlie. I wanted to know if you had any thoughts on what Dan just shared.
Yeah, so from a widget perspective, which is, I kind of feel like what we're on here, we get into data silos, which become complicated, especially when you're forward-looking to CDPs and how data needs to get fed back into a CDP, and then site speed. So the widgets tend to bog down the websites.
Affect speed.
Yeah.
Which is going to cause some people to say, I'm out.
Bounce.
Especially on a mobile, right? If I'm waiting typically for 3 seconds, I'm gone. Agreed?
I agree.
So I've got a question. This is probably for you, Charlie, or Dan, but I'm curious. So, we've talked about third-party widgets. Mm-hmm. And I'll go onto clients' desktop sites, and you'll get the pop-up and the pop-up and pop-up. And then I go to the mobile site, and the pop-ups literally cover the screen. They literally stop me from engaging. Yeah. And again, I'm actually surprised how many times dealers or the general managers, how rare they go on their own website and experience that so they could see what their clients are seeing. My question to you, and I'm curious, is some of those third parties are valuable. They serve a really great purpose. But what are some of the downsides? You touched on speed performance. Are there any other downsides from your perspective, Charlie, to having dealers that have too many third-party tools on there?
Yeah, absolutely. So aside from site speed, now some of the pop-ups, compliance, for example, Comply Auto automatically comes up on our sites. OEM, at least with Stellantis, has the test drive pop-up that comes up on your site. And then the remaining question is whether you have chat auto open or not. And we decline to auto-open chat just to have one less. So we'll have 1 or 2 instead of 3. But I'm with you. I totally agree that it's not in the interest of the consumer experience to have a lot of things popping up on your website. That's not what they want.
The consumer experience is really what suffers the most. I'll give you an example where, like the first thing that a customer sees when they come to your website shouldn't be somebody popping up saying start a chat. Like, I don't know how many websites that any of us have ever gone to where in the first 3 seconds that we were on it, we wanted to start a chat, right? Like, but that's still
I'm so glad you brought that up. You know, I know why. And you guys may think I'm crazy, but because obviously we're getting more and more and more towards leaning and relying on tech. I always want to kind of rewind a little bit, and I like taking tech and then putting it back into imagining it in a physical space. So if I imagine that I walk into a store, okay, and I touched on a different thing yesterday. If I walk in a store, I look around, I leave, it's like somebody bouncing off your website. They literally walked into your store and left. But then here's another example, Ron. So this time I walk into the store, and the minute I walk in, Dan here says, "Hey, I'm Dan. Can I help you?" Jesus, right? I'm going to go, right? What would your reaction
Just
be?
looking.
Right? And then I walk a couple more steps, and Ron says, "Hey, would you like to know our best price?" And I go, "Well, no, I'd like to know your worst price." "Of course I know I want to know your best price." "Okay, well, you have to give me all of your information." Right? So in other words, will you marry me? I haven't even asked somebody their name yet. And I'm asking them whether you want to marry me or not. So do you ever think about it in those terms? Because if I'm walking into your site, it's like I'm walking into your store and a pop-up is hey, a pop-up is hey, these are disruptions, interruptions that frankly disallow me to achieve the very thing you're saying you want, which is a cohesive, transparent, streamlined, easy, wonderful experience. Is that a fair statement?
I think that's a fair statement. I think that's the challenge with the status quo, which is dealers have conventionally been geared towards leads. Everything is to generate leads. So where do you end up with more? With transparency and no lead gateway, or with the lead gateway? I'm a fan of no lead gateways, and eventually you're moving towards CDPs and de-anonymizing people in other ways, which kind of brought us back to Comply Auto and how when you don't opt in, all of that's still anonymous anyway. But I'm a fan of a lack of lead gateways.
What drives a lot of that is attribution. The way that we look at ROI in automotive is typically based on the lead source report in the CRM, which is just so outdated because it says that like this customer took an action to buy or service a vehicle with me because of that one thing, when we know that the customer journey is really complex. It's longer than we give it credit for, but everybody, every tool, every widget wants to show up in that lead source report with a big number. And the customer experience doesn't matter. It's just justify your own existence and make sure that that number looks good, right? And that's what causes a lot of this.
I love that you brought this up, and I want you guys to wrap this up. I got to wrap this up, but here's the final question. To that point, aren't a lot of dealers honestly, unwittingly perhaps, focusing on the wrong things that are really is a check the box mentality? Hey, do we check the box? Oh, did you send a response? Oh yeah, check. Oh, did you send the same template response? Check. Did we get a lead? Check. Okay, everything's okay. Aren't we focusing possibly on the wrong things?
I think absolutely, and I think often what we see.
And what are the right things, by the way?
At dealerships, we'll see different members of the dealership, maybe an internet director, sales director, will ask for different tools to be added to their site. Sometimes they'll ask for the same tool, but from different providers. So we'll go onto one of our websites and we'll see 2 or 3 digital retailing solutions or multiple scheduled test drive forms. And what we're doing about it to try and help is we just recently created a new report where we can have a conversation with the dealer and walk through the list of every single third party we detected on the website. Are you still using them,
See,
Mr.
that's
Dealer?
innovation.
Yeah. Are you still using them? Are you getting value out of it? Did you know that Cars Commerce can actually help you with this?
That's crazy.
That's really, I think, what we're hoping to really drive coming out of NADA here, because I think that is the way to kind of slim things down and streamline.
Fantastic. Ron, what would you say? Are we focused on the wrong things, and what are the right things?
I don't know if we're focused on the wrong things. I think
No, I'm not you. I'm just saying dealers in general, when they focus on some of these check the box, right?
Yeah, I think as an industry, we just kind of get stuck in our ways. Right, and a lot of dealers that I know and talk to and spend a lot of time with, like, they're really busy, and innovation moves fast. And I think oftentimes, like, they're going to the next thing. They're jumping from one thing to the next, right? But look, like, there's so much that's happening across the automotive space, across the technology space, the advertising space. Staying on top of it all is tough. You need really good partners to help educate you and give you the right guidance and recommendations to take it all in and make the right moves for your store to accomplish the outcomes that you want.
I love it. Charlie, take us home.
Yeah, so I feel I'd be remiss if I didn't mention 14 points of attribution is the typical number, at least the last time I checked. So I think he's got a good point that people are trying to nab that attribution at last click, at least, and say that they were the source of the sale. But from my perspective, it's all about the customer experience. And in my mind, when I get jammed up at a lead gateway and I was just asking a simple question, I click out. So I really try to ask the question from that perspective. And there's some studies that suggest that you get more from giving more. So take the lead gateways down, let people have access to the tools, and in the end, you'll end up with more.
I love that. I want to thank Charlie DeBoard, CMO of the Walt Massey Group, Ron Andrews, head of product, and it just so much, everything. He's head of everything. Dealer Inspire, and Dan Schroeder. And Dan, by the way, just for everybody's knowledge that doesn't know you, what is your domain exactly?
All of the Dealer Inspire websites. So,
there you go.
Yeah, started building that back in 2012 and have been doing so ever since.
So I tell you something. One of my favorite quotes, we'll wrap it up here, is a person who has great books and doesn't read them is no better off than a person who can't read. So you have this remarkable solution with Dealer Inspire. If you're not using this team, you're not getting everything you can get out of everything you've got. Fair, Charlie?
Absolutely.
And if anybody wants to look you guys up, connect with you, Charlie, even yourself, are you open to dealers?
Sure.
Because you're a very innovative thinker. So I appreciate that. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.